Hey y'all, welcome back to another vlog, weekly, maybe? I don't know. I don't know if you can start a vlog on Thursday, but I'm gonna. It is, I almost said July. It's January the 4th. Happy New Year. I don't really know what I am doing this week. We're still kind of in the slums of starting life again, and I do have to go back to teaching today, so that's something that has to happen. So I will be getting into the swing of that, but up until now, from the 1st till now, I haven't really been doing anything except for reading a little bit. I did finish a book, and we'll talk about that in a second, but yeah, I am just trying to figure out what I want to do, because I set a lot of like vague goals for the new year, but because they were vague and I didn't have a TBR of sorts, and I don't know exactly what kind of videos I want to do. Like, I have a vague idea, but I figured just get out the camera and start filming, right? Right. So I started 3 books this week, and I finished one of them. And let's see. So basically, I started reading Harry Potter and and Philosopher's Stone. This is the British edition. Yay. Basically, whenever I look on my Libby account and I see that there is an available copy of the audio of this book, I pounce. So I started my reread of the series very early on in the year. Finished it today. Loved it again. 5 stars. It is a reread. I've read the series fully twice through. 6 out of 7 the 3rd time, and I'm starting over from 1 again. And I used to think this was my least favorite book, but now I'm reconsidering because it's just amazing. Harry is my favorite character probably of all time, and I just love how grateful he is. He's just sweet. He has nothing, and then when he gets something, he's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. He's just so grateful, and it's just it's a stark comparison to him and Ron, where Ron is just this whiny baby, I feel, who he has everything that Harry wants, and Harry has one thing that Ron wants, which is just to not have a bunch of siblings and to have money and fame and Quidditch ability. And so I love this book because Ron is in it very little, and there's even parts that I thought were in the movie. No, there are parts in this that I forgot happened because they're not in the movie. Basically, Ron doesn't go with them into the Forbidden Forest. I forgot that whole thing. Hermione tags along much more. There's that whole potion scene at the end. And Neville is, like, the whole, when you get to the end of the middle of the series and you start wondering about Neville versus Harry and who actually is fulfilling the prophecy. Sorry, spoilers. A little bit of that is set up here, I think, in little ways. And what else? This book is just funny. Dumbledore, even though I am a firm believer that Dumbledore is the villain. Dumbledore is the villain in this series. Well, one of them at least. I know that Voldemort's the real villain, but Dumbledore is one of them. But he's funny, and he's just zany and weird. He'll start the semesters off with a few words, and they'll be random words, and I love that. Random words. I love that the school anthem is not set in stone with what the melody is, and you can go at any pace. So at the very end of their song, like, everybody's singing different tunes in different speeds, and at the very end it's just Fred and George singing a funeral march, and I think that is just epic. I just thought that I hated this book more when I was younger, and I guess I did hate it more when I was younger. I appreciate it now, and I do think it starts slow. Like, being with the Dursleys at the very beginning, slog. Being there the day that Voldemort is defeated, like, and the Muggles don't know what's happened, but everyone in the Wizarding world is celebrating. It was boring to me. It was. But, yeah, I love this book, and I can't wait for the second one to be available on Libby so I can listen to that one too. I mean, I can read them again. I don't have the time to read with my eyes. Like when I'm doing something else, that's what I'll be listening to these. Well, that's when I'll be listening to these, when I'm doing something else. Because I have other physical books to get to, like books on my TBR and books I've gotten from the library that need to be gotten to. And one of those books is Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton Walker. And I don't really know what this book is about. I'm reading this book because I saw that Nell Diamond likes this book. So I was like, hey, I want to read what Nell Diamond likes. Plus, I know that we both liked the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, not Hugo. And I love that book, so I thought we'd have some overlap. And we do not have this overlap here. I am not enjoying this one very much. This is a book about these two siblings who are twins. Clemson? What is his name? Clem and Christina, and they are born into this magical family with generational magic. And basically all the black people in the society, and this is in New Orleans, all the black people have generational magic, and the white people have sun magic, I think. It's all very bleary for me. There's a lot of info dumping in this book. I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not. Basically, their mom has been really, really sick, and I'm about to read straight from the blurb. So 30 years ago, a young woman was murdered, and their family ends up taking the blame for it. They end up losing their generational title for, like, queen of something. Queen mother? I don't know. And on the anniversary of the brutal events, Clement, I was right in the first place, Clement and Christina, they're 16-year-old twins, and they are heirs to this powerful force, this family that's been dethroned. They're mourning their father, and they're caring for their sick mother, so that's not a spoiler. Their mother is sick, and they don't know what's happening, but they realize that she was cursed by someone on the very magic council their family used to rule. And, yeah, you're just going through their lives trying to figure out who put the blame on their family. And I don't like this book because I don't like the way it's written, in which we're in first person for Clement and Christina, but then in any other characters, we are not in first person, we're in third person. And I historically, I don't like books that do that because it confuses me. It just is jarring for whatever reason. The other thing is I don't like the way it's written, like vocabulary-wise. I feel like this book was trying to be dark, mysterious, and otherworldly, fantastical, but also trying to be, like what it is, urban fantasy. And I feel like it's too current in the vocabulary, in the vernacular people are using. So I don't enjoy that. And I also don't enjoy teenagers and their hormones. Maybe it's because I'm an adult now. I don't like reading about that anymore. I think it only appeals to me when I am that age. When I'm older, it seems weird. So, yeah. And then, like, it's about family, and I love that aspect of it. But then this family, they are chaotic. And, like, I'm one of 5 children. So I know what it's like to have siblings, and these people are just rude. They're rude. So I'm not enjoying that, but we're gonna finish it because I have to give it back to the library in a couple days, and I don't feel like taking it back out, and I don't really like DNFing. And then the last book that I'm reading is The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And I don't know if that's how you say Karamazov, but that's how we're gonna say it today. And this is about this family, not a family, this is about this father of these, how many boys? We've met 3 of the 4 boys. I have so far, at least. And his name is Fyodor Karamazov, and he is a terrible father. He is a lech, and he is a drunkard, and he is despicable. And he has, apparently he's gonna get killed. And I haven't gotten there yet. I am only 100 pages into this bad boy, but apparently his sons are gonna kill him. And right now we are in the monastery with this, like, Father Zosima, who is just Alexi's, like, biggest role model. And what's happened so far? Oh, we've just gotten like a little backstory on Dmitri and Ivan. And Dmitri is the son of Fyodor's first wife, who would beat him, but he actually like goes to her grave and like repents a little bit, but then she dies, he goes away. Then we have his second wife, who he did not respect, and she birthed Ivan and Alexei, and Alexei ends up going into the monastery, and Ivan ends up becoming this like intellectual who he's gotten really famous in their Russian world for writing these papers about how church and state shouldn't be separated, but he's writing it from an atheistic perspective, and I'm really obsessed with theology at this point in my lifetime, so I enjoy this book, and I think a lot of like Christians, I think this is like the book that Christians should read if they like fiction and Catholicism and Christianity and blah blah blah. And yeah, obviously I'm taking some things down. I really enjoy conversation like this. So that's what I'm reading. That's what's happening. Catch you with another update soon. Oakley dokley. We finished Blood Debts yesterday, I believe, and it was okay. 2 stars, mostly because, well, okay, I gave it 2 stars, 1 for the plot and premise, the second star for the magic, because the magic was cool. The thing I didn't enjoy were the characters, and characters can really make or break a book for me. I just mainly didn't like the twins, and this was a lot because of the sibling dynamic, and I think if the book had been done with following more so the aunts and the mom and their story and their dynamics, because the twins' mother has 4 siblings, and I enjoyed them and them being adults. I guess I just wasn't in the mood for teens, but the teens that were in this story were a touch self-righteous, and they would say contradictory things, like that Clement would, for example, be mad that Chris wouldn't confide in him, but then he would withhold things and not confide in her, and vice versa. They're both really flawed characters, which is the point. And then also the ending was not my cup of tea personally. So I think this was mostly just a case of good concept, but not great execution for me. And that's why I give it 2 stars. So now we are currently reading The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. And I have heard about this one, kind of. I feel like it missed me when it was circulating around town. I feel like I just missed out on the hype. So I found it on Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, hey, let's pick it up. And it is about a woman named Millie who becomes a housemaid, and some creepy stuff happens. And I think I'm like halfway through, and I'm liking it. It's not great. I don't know why there's so much hype about it. It's interesting, and it's readable, and it's fast-paced enough so that I can keep going. But nothing really has happened yet. But yeah, that's what I'm reading. That's what's happening. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be just a weekend reading vlog thing, because I have other books I want to mood read, because I don't know, I had books on my TBR, and that's why I didn't put out a TBR video this month, because I cannot stick to it. Although I have been sticking to reading a little bit of the Brothers Karamazov each day, and that book is so good. Right now we're still with Fyodor Karamazov, the father, the awful father. And now we have gotten introduced to his housekeeper, his butler man, servant, Gregory, and his wife, and I don't know how much is a spoiler for that, if anybody cares about spoilers. So just know that I'm enjoying that one immensely, and I'm going to keep on like doing little sections and chunks of it each day. So we've gotten to the twist in The Housemaid. It was expected, duh. And but the good thing is that I'm enjoying the twist. I like that it happened, because if anything else had happened, it would have been really bizarre, I guess. It wouldn't make sense. So this one made sense, and now we have the twist happening, trying not to spoil anything. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish this one today, and I'll let you know what I think about the things that transpire. So I didn't give the best description of The Housemaid, so I'm going to try again, because that was piss poor. So The Housemaid is about this girl named Millie, who ends up down on her luck and has been fired from her waitressing job, and she needs to make some cash, so she auditions, is that how you say it? No, she interviews, there we go, it's not an audition, it's an interview, to become the housemaid or housekeeper for this wealthy family named the Winchesters, and they have the mom and dad named Nina and Andrew, and they have a daughter named Cecilia, and she gets hired basically on the spot to become their housekeeper, and while she's doing so for this family. And I would not suggest looking at the Goodreads description, because I feel like it spoils a lot, so I guess I can't really spoil too much in this little description right now. But she ends up becoming a little put upon, and she feels like everything's just too much, because Nina seems like this just overbearing, never satisfied employer, and all the while she has a little crush on Mr. Winchester, and she's being made to, she's a live-in nanny, or live-in housekeeper, and she's being made to stay in the attic bedroom that just seems a little abusive to her. And then the story kicks off from there. And so that's my better description of this book. And I just finished it, so that's why I'm back again. And I will say that I give this book a 3.5 stars, and I round it up to a 4, because honestly, it was entertaining. It reminded me of The Girl on the Train, and it reminded me of, what's that book by Peter Swanson? The Kind Worth Killing. It very much so screams of that. And I want to spoil things, so if you don't like spoilers, go to this timestamp right there. So, the plot twist, like I told you before when I wasn't spoiling things, was extremely predictable. The whole thing is that while Millie is doing her job for the Winchesters, she feels like Nina's becoming more and more unhinged, and she feels like, you know, if I just became the new Mrs. Winchester, everything would be cool, copacetic. And so one day when Mrs. Winchester, when Nina's away and Cecilia's at like a camp, yeah, because Nina's taking her daughter to camp, then Millie and Andrew have some time to kind of get to know each other more. They go out to dinner, they go to a Broadway show, they end up in bed together at a hotel. And all the while, Millie's like, oh, this could never be, and we're going behind her back. And then Nina ends up going, and I think she picks a fight with Andrew, but the point is, Andrew throws her out. And then Millie thinks she's going to become the new Mrs. Winchester. And then you have part 2 or 3, I think, and it goes into Nina's perspective, because all the while we were with Millie and her being down on her luck after getting out of prison, and Millie's perspective is fine. It's like run-of-the-mill. You know that something's weird about her, but she just seems like this girl who has had some bad luck and just wants to do a good job and has a crush on her boss. But then we get to Nina's perspective, and you find out that she has been abused for several years by her husband, Andrew. He's been locking her in the attic. He found her when she was just a single mom, and he starts to torture her after they get married. Like, when they get married, it's all roses and sunshine until she does one little thing wrong, like her roots start to show, and then he ends up putting her in the attic. And then he decides to, like, make it seem like she's crazy, and he has this whole big operation going so that the whole town's involved, which, far-fetched, but they're saying, you know, he has enough money to make that so. So I guess, fine. So, then you're with Nina, and she basically hatched a plan with Enzo, the gardener, who you think doesn't speak a lick of English, but really he does. And he ends up helping her get away from Andrew. And a lot happens in this. Like, Andrew really wants a baby that's his own, so he wants to get Nina pregnant, but Nina gets an IUD, unbeknownst to him. And what else happened? There was something that, so basically, she hired Millie because she wanted her to kill Andrew, because Millie thinks that Nina doesn't know this, but Nina, of course she knows. Why would you hire somebody and not know how they were, where they were for the last few years, do a background check, and why they were in prison? Okay, Nina is not stupid. But, so Millie was in prison because she killed a man, and she also, before that, had a bunch of things. But it was always because she was sticking up for somebody, or something was being done to her. And so that is her pass for her aggressive history. And then you think, so then you are jolted back into the perspective of Millie, and Andrew, after one of their lovemaking sessions, locks her in the attic, and she's like, what? And so then you as the reader are supposed to think, oh no, she's not going to be able to fend for herself. But of course she will. She ends up being smart. Although Nina did help her, and she left pepper spray in the peeing bucket, and she gave her a key to the door. So then, after one torturing session that Andrew has to inflict upon Millie, she ends up spraying him with pepper spray, getting the heck out of Dodge, out of the room, locks him in, and she becomes his torturer because she is a little unhinged, just a little bit. And it just felt very like, yeah, of course. It was entertaining to watch, but I just felt like I saw it all coming, and I think you're supposed to probably. And the end, I think, was weird. Just because, so Andrew dies because Millie was his torturer and did not let him out, and he ends up getting his comeuppance, like he gets tortured the way he was torturing Nina for several years. And then they have the funeral for him, and you find out that he is the way he was, or he was the way he was, because of his mother, Evelyn, is that her name? Evelyn, who tortured him and would pull his baby teeth out because he did something wrong. And the kicker for me is that then, and this is why I couldn't give it like a full 4 stars. I put out 5 fingers, a full 4 stars, because at the end, when Nina is off with her daughter and they're chilling, they're having a great life, she ends up recommending Millie to another wife who is showing signs of like, hey, I'm being abused. I need a hit woman. So apparently, and there's other books in the series, right? Right, y'all? Apparently, Millie becomes a hit woman? What? I liked this book, but I knock points off because it has a sequel in which she's going to do the same thing. I don't enjoy that. I don't know why it works for The Kind Worth Killing, but it doesn't here. I don't know why. I don't... it was good. Let me tell you, it was good. And like I said, I saw the things coming. Like, I saw that the gardener, Enzo, was going to be, like, somebody's savior. I saw that Nina wasn't going to be the crazy one, and it was going to be Andrew. And I think you're probably supposed to see all those things coming, but even still. What I don't love is that, even though she does redeem herself in the end, I don't love that Nina was going to just let her be imprisoned forever. Obviously she didn't let her be in prison forever, because she left a key and she left pepper spray. She gave her the tools to defend herself, but she also left her to do the dirty work of killing Andrew. But then she has another redeeming moment where she goes back and wants to take the fall for all that has happened, because the police get involved, of course. Andrew, it's like, he's gonna be noticed. Why is he dead? Oh, that's what it was. So, the real kicker, besides the fact that Millie's just gonna be a hit woman, the real kicker is that Andrew was supposed to have, like, this letter that if anything happened to him, the police department or detective there was going to let a letter out and basically keep Nina in the psychiatric hospital. And because Millie has killed Andrew, Nina doesn't want her to go back to prison for the rest of her life, so she's like, I'll take the blame. They'll just put me in the loony bin. And so then the detective comes, and he's like, I saw the body. He's got lots of bruises. He has some teeth missing. Interesting. What a crazy accident. And it's like, huh? And you find out that the detective's daughter was Andrew's first fiance that he tortured. She was one of the first people he tortured. And so, because she was never the same after that, he vowed to get whatever dirtbag was responsible for that. And I just find it a little, like, okay, a little convenient that Nina ends up not having to take any of the blame because this police detective was coincidentally the father of this person. Like, I know he was trying to find her, or find him, but still, I just think that was a little, like, it was too neatly tied up. But who am I? So, that is the third book I have finished this week. Let's see, this might be the end of the vlog, it might not be. We'll see if I keep the cameras rolling. If it is the end of the vlog, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video soon, and goodbye.